Common law partners, long-term partners, and fiancés cannot inherit in my country. It must be marriage or blood relatives. I have 4 children. My oldest, James, male 48, passed away a year ago in a freak accident. I have 3 other children, male 46, female 44, female 44. James was child-free and he lived with his long-term partner, Sarah, 39, for 15 years. He is a very successful business owner. He proposed to Sarah a few weeks before his passing. They were supposed to have been married this summer. Sarah would have inherited everything if they were married, since he had no children. But since there was no paper, I inherited his whole estate, around 3 million euros. Sarah was still in mourning, and so am I, so there hasn't been any mention of my son's estate, even though we meet every morning in our cemetery to say hi to our beloved James. She usually brings breakfast. I got to know this remarkable woman, and I got what my son saw in her. They were madly in love with each other. My second oldest asked me this last Saturday when the rest of my children came for dinner. He asked me when I was planning to ask Sarah to move out. Move out? Yes, the apartment is mine now and worth around 1 million. I told my children that they must have misunderstood this whole thing. The estate is Sarah's, just because they didn't have time to sign a paper. She was James's wife. My children got so angry with me and called me an idiot. None of the rest of my children are well off, and they all have families, but they're not in poverty either. They can make their own fortune. The law says the estate is mine, and later it goes to my children. But still, I don't care. James made his fortune while having Sarah by his side. Even by his own admission, he wouldn't be where he was without her. Their relationship was more beautiful than any married couple I've ever met. And I now, 69 male, think that I may sort out my deceased son's affairs before something happens to me too. James probably thought he had all the time to make sure his wife wouldn't be kicked out of the home and life she built with him. Am I the idiot for giving my deceased son's estate to his fiancée? I think it's her money, and she has the right to decide what to do with it. Not the idiot. Good for you. It's very insightful of you to understand the relationship James and Sarah had was more than a piece of paper and a ceremony. You're taking the high road, while your adult children are taking the low road. Do what you want with the estate, and quite frankly, it's none of their business. I'm sure your son is smiling down on you right now. Your other children are vultures, plain and simple, when they're circling over your son's estate. Do you have any idea how your other children ended up being so greedy? I can't imagine wanting to rob a widow so you can keep her home to yourself. It's not something a decent person would do. I'm surprised because you and your son seem like such good people. Why have the others taken such a disappointing turn? Yeah, imagine going straight to, let's kick out our sister-in-law of 15 years, a week after brother's death, to get our hands on the apartment that belongs to our parent. Basically, even if OP didn't give the estate to Sarah, OP has to die for these kids to get anything. It is very sad that they're talking to their dad that way and wanting to take what ethically belongs to Sarah. It's your inheritance to do what you want, and if you give it all to Sarah, that's your right. You're not getting any younger, and if that's what you want to do, then go to a lawyer and make it official. Another thing that's almost guaranteed is if you give her the estate, your other children will probably hate you. Maybe only for a while, maybe for a long while. They may even go no contact with you. Be prepared for the fallout. Update. Am I the idiot for giving my deceased son's estate to his fiancée? As I expected, my children have asked for a psychological evaluation of me and have asked to freeze my assets in the meantime. I've spoken to Sarah and my son's lawyer, and we're transferring Jamie's estate to Sarah in the meantime. Sarah was very emotional, and she admitted that she had signed a lease on an apartment because my daughters had asked her to move out and had given her 2 months' notice. This was last month, and they've been texting and emailing her every day with letters of eviction, etc. I feel very embarrassed and humiliated by all of this. I hope Sarah didn't believe it was coming from me. I don't know how the freezing of assets would play, but I'm not even retired yet, and I still work at full capacity. So good luck proving that I'm mental, I guess. I don't know how long these evaluations take, but my guess is the moment it's finished, all paperwork will be ready for transferring Sarah's estate to her. I hope it doesn't take long and that my children accept defeat when this is all settled. I'd love to hear how they push for an evaluation. Why do you think your father is in a declining mental state? The bastard's trying to give our dead brother's fiancé our dead brother's estate. The horror! I'm so very sorry. Find yourself a good family attorney. There are safeguards for you. What the heck? I'm so sorry about your children. It's your children who need to be evaluated. They're harassing and trying to evict Sarah without owning the apartment, which can't be legal, regardless of your possibly pending evaluation. Maybe a little threat will speed up the process. Tell them if they don't drop it, you'll set a will, excluding them from inheriting your other assets after you're gone. I'm not saying give it to Sarah, but directly to your grandchildren, skipping the greedy parents. Maybe it'll open their eyes. My brother and his wife just had a baby. Me and my wife had bought them a set of baby monitors that we used with each of our kids when they were babies. They seemed happy with our gift at the time, and nothing was amiss. However, they're not using it. The baby monitor they are using is the old kind. I noticed when my brother showed me the nursery, there's no video or Wi-Fi capability like the one we gave them. When I confronted my brother, he said it was a nice thought, but they weren't comfortable with the idea of a video and Wi-Fi for security reasons. Just before my niece was born, they moved out of their flat and bought a house. And now that my brother said it, I noticed they don't have any smart or Wi-Fi capable appliances or even a Ring camera. Both of them do have cell phones, and they also have work ones, but my brother said they use data for all 4 of those. Otherwise, they don't have Wi-Fi and have set up 2 cables so their laptops can have internet. He said they don't want anything in their home that can be hacked or exploited when it comes to security, especially when it comes to my niece. He compared a Wi-Fi capable baby monitor to him and my sister-in-law, choosing not to have social media or allow anything about my niece to be put online by themselves or anyone else. Am I the idiot for feeling offended that they aren't using the gift we gave them? My wife feels the same way. My brother's a prosecutor, and my sister-in-law works child welfare, so I feel like they're just projecting here and overreacting to something that's harmless. It's causing tension between me and my brother because we took the time to give a gift that was not only thoughtful, but also not cheap. It's also meant to make things more convenient for him and my sister-in-law. You are the idiot. You bought them a gift that you thought they needed instead of asking them what they needed. There are many reasons why people don't use Wi-Fi video monitors for their baby, and all of them are justified as personal preference. You seem to take their preferences as a personal judgment against you. It's not, and stop making their lifestyle about you. Next time, stick to the registry or ask before spending a lot of money. I also refuse to use a Wi-Fi monitor. I'm a nanny, and so many of us reported having strange people talking to us or our kids through the monitor because they were being so easily hacked. So I totally understand their hesitancy to use a Wi-Fi one. I use a video monitor that requires proximity to the camera rather than connecting to Wi-Fi, and it works great. I'm a former IT security person, and I won't have any Wi-Fi appliances in my home. It's a major threat to your peace of mind. OP, you can't be offended when someone doesn't use a gift that they had no involvement in choosing. Now be a considerate brother and give them the receipt for your expensive gift so they can get something they need or want. I'm a mother of 4 children, ranging in age from tween to mid-teens, and I work in marketing. Our house is pretty decent in size. Each 2 of the 4 kids share a room. Then my husband and I have a bedroom. So in total, we have 3 sleeping rooms and no extras for sleeping. My husband's mother's been sick for quite a while and needs to be taken care of 24/7. That's why my husband got her a personal nurse and caretaker. Recently, my husband has been tired of paying the nurse and his mother's rent, so he suggested she move in with us so he wouldn't have to pay her rent and only pays for the nurse. As I said, our house is already packed with the 6 of us, so bringing his mother and the nurse would be 8. Our house can't handle that, and we don't have enough rooms. Also, his mother can't sit down. She always has to lie in bed, and we don't have any possible extra bed or space to put a new bed. My husband suggested she stay in my youngest kid's room, but it only has 2 beds, so my kids, both tweens, would sleep on one bed while his mother took the other. I straight up refused and told him I wouldn't disturb my kids' comfort like that, and we still won't have a place for the nurse. He told me I should stay at home and quit my job so he could cut off the nurse, and I could take care of his mother. I told him how he could take care of his mother and quit work to stay home, and he said no. She hasn't moved in yet. I won't allow it. The house already feels small for us 6. Also, I have 3 more brothers-in-law. One of them lives alone and isn't married, so my husband is not our only child, yet he's the one who pays for the nurse and the rent alone. I asked him to tell his brothers to help. He refused. His pride didn't allow him to ask them for help, but he was completely fine with asking me to quit my job so he wouldn't pay for a nurse, and asked me to pack the house more because he couldn't pay her rent. This has been going on for so long, and he called me heartless for refusing her to move in. I told him she could move in if we got a bigger house, and he proceeded to call me ungrateful for what I had. I don't have a problem with her, but I don't want to suffocate at home and don't want to shove 2 of my kids in one bed, nor do I want to quit my job. Am I the idiot? Absolutely not the idiot. 8 people in a 3-bedroom house doesn't work. Your kids are already doubled up, and there's just no room for her at the inn. I can't believe he had the nerve to suggest you quit to be a full-time carer for his mother. He's the heartless one here, not you. The fact that he didn't even consider quitting himself to look after her speaks volumes as well. Time for a family meeting with hubby and the brothers-in-law. Question: how do the brothers-in-law think their mom's expenses are paid for? Do they know hubby pays for everything? Have they never offered to contribute? Also, birth order-wise, where does hubby fall? Is he the oldest? Is that why he's martyring himself? And by extension, you and your kids? They know my husband is paying for everything. No, they've never offered to contribute, because from day one, my husband said he's taking care of everything. He's the second oldest. The oldest brother is the unmarried one. No, we don't owe her any money. If anything, she's the one who owes me money, as I helped my husband with her rent in her previous apartment before my husband moved her into her current apartment. I did this with 0 compensation and never asked him for one. Tell him he'll have a lot more to pay if you get a divorce, and he then has to figure out how to pay for another house to live in. LOL. It's time to put your foot down. I'm sorry, but if he's refusing money from the family out of pride, he's putting your children second, and that's not okay. He has a choice. Children he created above mom, or you must consider other living arrangements. Update: am I the idiot for refusing to move in my sick mother-in-law? I didn't add this part, but the full story is that when I married my husband, we were all good, and nothing shook our household. 4 years ago, my father-in-law died, and my husband changed 180 degrees and started being the miserable idiot that he is. I was handling it at first, considering that his father had died, but it has been 4 years. I've been preparing to divorce him for a year now and was going to buy a house. Then, thankfully, my late uncle left me a house that I inherited, so I could save the money I would spend on a new house. The house was finalized under my name 4 months ago. My husband is aware of this, and he knows that we're going to leave in the next 6 months. So he's trying to do anything to hinder us or make the remaining months miserable, just like having to quit my job and stay moneyless for 6 months and probably not finding a new job. He didn't tell me that's his intention, but I know how he thinks. He has the expenses to cover the house with me, 50-50, and pay his mother's rent. What's his problem then? He wouldn't be able to save a large sum of money. Why didn't I already leave? School started, and going would mean that they'd all repeat their academic year. I talked to them and made them aware we could move now, but I also made them aware of the outcome. They agreed to stay. Why did I wait 4 years? I was saving up and preparing my things. I know 4 years is a long time, but I couldn't risk picking up 4 children when I didn't have enough money for a house or educational tuition. Can he move his mother without my agreement? He knows if he does, I'll stop paying anything in the house. We spend $3,000 every month. We split it, and he pays $500 for his mother's rent and nurse. So in total, he spends $2,000 on half the house and his mother. Obviously, if he did anything without my agreement, he'd pay $3,000 alone plus the nurse. He told his mom I'd take care of her, even though I never agreed, and he sent me a message thanking me, which I didn't answer. He lied to her, so he would guilt-trip me. He also contacted my siblings and my friends to tell them I'm a heartless woman, and that one day my kids would leave me too, like I left my mother-in-law. Newsflash, she has 4 kids. I am not one of them. OP, based on your update, I think something a little different is going on though. Your husband is sabotaging your plans to leave. Never tell someone when you're making an exit plan. Your husband is being bullish because he's trying to tie you to him and stop your career. He knows exactly what he's asking. Honestly, don't wait. Move ASAP. He's likely to escalate. Go around him and talk to his brothers if you have to. But my feeling here, money's not actually the issue. My son burps a lot while eating. I've tried to tell him multiple times that it's rude. I've told him to slow down so he doesn't swallow air with this food. I've said to him that it's disgusting. My wife will instantly jump in to defend him. She'll say that's just the way he is and that it's not his fault. The thing is, he can't control himself when I remind him. He chooses not to. He just went on a date with his girlfriend last night, and she tore him a new butt. It was his first time meeting her parents since they lived in another city. They went out to a fancy restaurant, and he burped through supper. He came home almost in tears from her chewing him out for behaving like an idiot in front of her family. I heard him telling my wife about it, and I laughed. She asked what was so funny, and I reminded them both that I had tried dozens, if not hundreds of times, to teach him table manners, and he rejected them, and she protected him. I said that now he's a grown man and had to learn the hard way. They both think she overreacted and that I'm the idiot for being amused by his experience. Am I the idiot? Edit. My son is 22 years old. 20-darn-2? I was expecting like 16 or some crap. Not the idiot. OP, that's hilarious. I'm dying here. Surprised he didn't fart, stick his hands in his pants, and then ask his date to sniff while going, "Hew, hew, 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 hew." You are not the idiot. The girlfriend did not overreact. Hopefully, he learns a valuable lesson from this. OP, I'm taking a leap of faith that you and his doctor have eliminated the possibility that your son has a medical issue. I'm assuming he's just an immature and poorly socialized young man. Sadly, I've known a few young men who think that they can belch and fart around girlfriends and their parents like they do with frat brothers. Still, consider apologizing for laughing at his situation and introducing him to the Art of Manliness website. He will lose jobs if he does this at work functions. I'm sure his bosses will love having an employee act this way. Is mommy gonna support this idiot when he's jobless? His mother has coddled him for so long. He's so thick that he'll have to learn this the hard way again and again until he finally realizes that the problem is with him and not with other people. LOL, she's trying so hard to prevent him from learning from this. The mother sounds like the one who needs therapy to let her son go. She's the kind of mom who would still pick out his underwear and dress him. Seriously, the older I get, The more moms like this were the deal breakers.